Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've spent any time in decentralized finance, DeFi, you know it can feel a bit overwhelming.
Definitely.
Like you're trying to navigate something complex, and then you hear these acronyms like MEV,
Yeah,
maximal extractable value. Suddenly, just swapping tokens feels risky. Like you're walking through a minefield you can't even see.
that's fortunately a pretty good way to put it. DeFi has huge potential, obviously, but there are these hidden costs,
Hmm.
predatory practices that can really eat into your returns without you even noticing.
Right.
So today we're diving into CoW protocol. It's a platform specifically designed, really engineered, to shield users from exactly those kinds of hidden costs and problems.
Okay.
It's not just a small fix. It's like a different way of thinking about how trades get done on Ethereum and increasingly other chains too.
So our mission today then is to take all this technical stuff we found in the sources, intent-based architecture, combinatorial batch auctions, all that, and make it simple.
Oh.
We'll break it down into 6 key points. By the end, you should really get how CoW protocol works, how it protects your trade, and maybe even gets you a better price. Think of it as a shortcut to safer, smarter trading. Okay, let's kick things off with the why. What's the actual problem that CoW protocol is trying to solve? You mentioned this hidden tax.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest one is MEV, maximal extractable value.
Right.
So when you submit a transaction on, say, Ethereum, it doesn't happen instantly. It sits in this public waiting room called the mempool,
Okay, the mempool.
and everyone can see it there, including automated bots. These bots are constantly scanning for profitable opportunities.
Uh-huh.
So if they see you're about to make a big buy order, for example, they can quickly submit their own transaction to buy right before yours, push the price up slightly, and then sell right after yours goes through. That's called front running or a sandwich attack.
Wow. So they basically use my own trade against me to guarantee themselves a profit.
Precisely. They skim profit off your trade just because they saw it coming. It's a hidden cost, a tax you pay without realizing it, unless you use protector tools.
Okay, that's pretty bad. What else?
Well, besides the predatory stuff, there are other big inefficiencies CoW tackles. One is liquidity fragmentation.
Meaning the money is spread out?
Exactly. If you want to swap token A for token B, the best price might be on Uniswap, or maybe Curve, or Balancer, or maybe a combination. The liquidity, the supply you need, it's scattered everywhere.
Right, so if I just use one exchange, I might not be getting the best deal available across the whole market.
That's it. You might leave money on the table. CoW acts as a meta-aggregator. It doesn't just check one or two places. It plugs into practically all of them, even other aggregators, to find the absolute best price path for your specific trade.
Okay, that makes sense. Aggregation.
And the other big one, wasted gas. You know, sometimes you submit a transaction and maybe the price moves too fast and it fails.
Yes. And you still pay the gas fee?
Exactly. You pay for nothing. CoW fixes that for the user. If a trade sourced through CoW fails after the solver submits it, the solver usually covers the cost, not you. You only pay gas if it succeeds.
Okay, so the problems are visibility to predators, scattered liquidity, and wasted gas. How does CoW actually fix all this? What's the core idea?
The core idea is right there in the name. Achieving a coincidence of once, CoWs. But maybe the easiest way to think about it is like this. Instead of shouting your order in a public market.
Where the bots can hear you.
Right. Instead, you sort of whisper your intent, what you want to achieve to a trusted competitive group. Think of CoW protocol not as a public highway, but more like a sophisticated private matchmaker service.
A matchmaker. Okay, I like that analogy. Explain that.
So you don't submit a raw transaction to the public mempool. Instead, you sign an off-chain message saying something like, hey, I intend to sell 1 ETH for at least 3,000 USDC.
So it's just a wish, not an order yet. And it's private.
Exactly. It's off-chain, invisible to those MEV bots.
Yeah.
You give this wish to a group of specialized professional entities called solvers.
Solvers. Okay, these are the matchmakers.
They are. And here's the crucial part. They are competing fiercely against each other.
Competing for what?
Competing for the right to actually execute your trade and the trades of everyone else in the batch. To win, they have to find the absolute best way to fulfill your wish, the best price, across all those liquidity sources, maybe even matching you directly with another user.
Wait, but if these solvers are intermediaries, isn't that kind of against the whole point of DeFi? How do we know they won't try to rip me off?
That's a really important question. The system uses two main things, collateral and competition.
Okay.
First, solvers have to lock up a significant amount of money collateral with a protocol. If they misbehave or fail to execute properly, They can lose that collateral. It's like a security deposit.
So they have skin in the game.
A lot of skin in the game. And second, they're constantly competing in these auctions. Only the solver, who finds the most efficient execution path for the whole batch, wins the right to submit it and gets paid. This intense competition forces them to optimize for the user's benefit, not their own.
Okay, that makes sense. Competition keeps them honest, and collateral ensures they follow through. So let's walk through the mechanics. How does my private wish actually become a settled trade on the blockchain?
Right. The magic really happens off-chain first, which is key for privacy and efficiency.
Okay, step by step for us.
Step 1, signing the intent. Like we said, you use the CoW swap interface or an integrated wallet, and you sign an off-chain message. I want to trade X for Y at minimum price Z. It's your signed permission, your intent, but crucially, not a transaction on the public chain yet, invisible to MEV bots.
Okay, signed intent. Got it. Private. Now what?
Step 2, batching. Your intent doesn't go straight to the chain. It gets collected or batched together with lots of other users' intents. On Ethereum, these batches are typically processed about every 5 minutes.
5 minutes? So there's a bit of a wait.
There's a short delay, yes. That's the trade-off for the security and optimization you get. This batching is essential for the next step.
Which is?
Step 3, the auction. Now, the batch of intents is presented to all the competing solvers. They frantically analyze the entire batch, looking for the absolute most efficient way to execute all the trades.
How do they do that?
First, they look for direct peer-to-peer matches within the batch itself, the actual coincidence of wants. If you want to sell ETH for USDC, and someone else in the same batch wants to sell USDC for ETH, the solver can match you directly.
Bypassing exchanges entirely.
Exactly. No external market fees, minimal slippage. If they can't find direct matches for everything, then they go out and find the best possible prices from all the connected DEXs and aggregators we talked about earlier to figure out the optimal routing for the whole batch.
Okay, so they find the best solution for the group. What stops them from, like, front-running their own solution when they submit it?
Great question. That brings us to step 4, the uniform clearing price. The solver who found the best overall execution wins the auction and submits the entire batch as a single, complex transaction to the blockchain. Here's the key. For any given token pair within that batch, like ETH/DC, every single trade gets the exact same final execution price.
Everyone gets the same price?
Everyone swapping ETH for USDC in that 5-minute batch gets the identical price. Because it's uniform, there's no price difference for a bot to exploit between your trade and someone else's in the same batch. It makes front-running economically impossible within the batch.
Wow.
And remember, because the solver is submitting the transaction and taking the execution risk, you, the user, only pay gas fees if your trade successfully executes as part of that batch. No more wasted gas on failed swaps.
Okay, that whole process, the batching, the auction, the uniform price, it's pretty clever. So let's zoom out. For someone just trying to trade, what are the real tangible benefits? What do I actually see?
It really boils down to 2 main things: getting a better price and knowing you're protected. The most obvious benefit is MEV protection.
Right. Baked in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not an optional extra. It's fundamental to how the protocol works. You're shielded from those sandwich attacks and front-running bots automatically.
And the cost side. We mentioned the gas savings.
Huge. No wasted gas on failed transactions is a big deal.
Yeah.
But also, remember those direct P2P matches, the CoWs?
Yeah, bypassing the exchanges.
When those happen, you completely avoid the trading fees that normal automated market makers, AMs like Uniswap, charge. That's often 0.3% or more right there. Plus, the aggregation finds better prices overall, minimizing slippage. It adds up to real savings in your wallet.
Makes sense. Better price discovery, lower fees.
It's not just for simple swaps. The sources highlighted how CoW supports more advanced strategies too, even for regular users.
Like what?
Like 2-app orders time-weighted average price. If you need to make a really large trade, dumping it all at once can crash the price against you.
Right, market impact.
TWAP lets you break that big order into smaller chunks executed automatically over a set period, minutes or hours. It minimizes your impact and aims for an average price. And the data shows this is popular. Over $1 billion in TWAP volume was executed through CoW by early 2025. That tells you serious traders are using this.
$1 billion in TWAP. Okay, that's significant trust. And I remember seeing something about protection outside of CoW swap itself.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. It shows their commitment. They offer the MEV blocker. It's basically a special internet address and RPC endpoint that you can add to your wallet settings, like in MetaMask.
What does adding that do?
An RPC is like the communication channel your wallet uses to talk to the blockchain. By using CoW's MEV blocker RPC, your transactions, even if you're initiating them on, say, Uniswap's website directly, get routed through a private channel first before hitting the public mempool.
So it shields regular transactions too.
It tries to shield them from front-running bots, yes.
Yeah.
It's not foolproof for all types of MEV, but it's a free, easy layer of protection you can add to your existing wallet setup.
Okay, we've heard a lot about the benefits, security, efficiency, better prices. But, no system's perfect. What are the downsides, the trade-offs, or the risks we found in the sources?
Definitely trade-offs. The big one we already touched on is speed versus security.
That 5-minute batch time.
Yeah, well, up to maybe 30 seconds typically for the auction and settlement process within the batch cycle. But still, it's not instant. You submit your intent, and you have to wait for the batch to fill and the auction to run.
Which could be 30 seconds, maybe a bit more sometimes.
Potentially. For most users doing regular swaps, that slight delay is fine for the protection they get. But for high-frequency traders who need millisecond execution, CoW protocol probably isn't the right tool.
Okay, so not for the super fast trading bots. What else? Competition.
Oh, yeah. Huge competition now. CoW was really one of the pioneers of this whole intent-based model. But the idea is catching on. The biggest competitor mentioned is UniswapX.
Uniswap, the biggest DS.
Exactly. Uniswap launched UniswapX, which uses a very similar auction model with third-party fillers competing to execute trades, aiming for MEV protection and price improvement.
So they're basically doing the same thing.
They're tackling the same problems with a similar approach. That's direct competition for CoW's user base and its unique selling points. It forces CoW to keep innovating just to stay ahead.
Makes sense. What about risks inside the CoW system itself? Those solvers.
Right, the solver model introduces potential centralization risk. We said they need to post significant collateral.
Yeah, for security.
Well, that high collateral requirement, plus the need for sophisticated infrastructure to actually compete in the auctions, creates a barrier to entry. Not just anyone can become a solver.
So you might end up with just a few big players dominating.
That's the risk. If only a handful of large, well-funded entities can realistically compete, then the benefits of decentralization and fierce competition might diminish over time. Although the collateral did prove its worth, there was a small hack incident in February 2023, and the sources noted that user funds were made whole quickly because the affected solver's collateral covered the loss.
Interesting trade-off there. Security via collateral, but potential centralization. Anything else?
One last point from the sources was pressure on the native CoW token. It's mainly used for governance, deciding on the protocol's future. But there's a large amount of the token supply still being released gradually, a 4-year linear vesting schedule that started back in March 2022 and runs until March 2026.
Meaning tokens are constantly being unlocked and potentially sold.
Exactly. It creates ongoing selling pressure. So the CoW DAO, the governance community, needs to constantly find new ways to create real demand and utility for the token to counteract that pressure from the vesting unlocks.
This is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into simple pieces and want more reviews just like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox. We do all the complex research, so you don't have to. #Tech6. Summary and final thought.
Okay, that was a lot, but we've covered the problem, the idea, how it works, the benefits, and the risks. If you had to boil CoW protocol down, like the elevator pitch for a friend, 1 or 2 sentences.
Let's see. CoW protocol is basically a super secure trading platform. It takes your desire to trade, hides it from bots, and then makes professional solvers compete like crazy to find you the absolute best price across the whole market, often matching you directly with others to save fees. It's MEV protection and best price rolled into one.
Nice. Clear and hits the main points. So wrapping this up, what's the final, maybe provocative thought for our listeners to chew on after this deep dive?
For me, the most interesting thing, building on that hack incident we mentioned, is this reliance on professional, financially backed intermediaries, the solvers, to actually achieve greater security and fairness in DeFi. We always talk about DeFi removing the middleman.
Yeah, that's the mantra.
Yet here, with CoW protocol, it seems like having these highly competitive, specialized, collateralized middlemen is the very thing that makes the system safer and more trustworthy for the average user compared to just throwing your trade out into the wild west of the public mempool. It kind of flips the script on what decentralization means in practice for user protection. Does better protection sometimes require smarter, more accountable intermediaries?
That is a really interesting point to think about. Maybe the goal isn't no intermediaries, but the right kind of intermediaries held accountable by competition and collateral. Food for thought. Okay, you now have the core knowledge on CoW protocol and intent-based trading. Definitely worth exploring things like the MEV blocker for your own wallet and keeping an eye on how that competition with Uniswap-X plays out.
Absolutely. Lots happening in this space.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Until next time.